Good morning, everyone. Greetings and welcome to all our lovely attendees for the day. As I have said and introduced myself, my name is Nomzamo Matlombe. I hope everybody can hear me loud and clear. Thank you, Ms. Lala Diksha, for that video montage. We truly appreciate it. It is always inspiring to watch and see the amount of work that is being done by the counseling unit. Through this video montage, we got to be taken through a journey of moments that we have shared throughout this year since we started, seeing outreach programs that we've conducted, seeing colleagues from all the different regions that make up what we call the Gauteng team is truly inspiring. As I've introduced myself, my name is Nomzamo Matlombe, and with me I have a team. My team includes the likes of Ms. Itumeleng Mahwane, who will be invisible but very active in helping us admit, in helping us project, as much as I am joined through her laptop because mine is experiencing tiny technical difficulties. We have Ms. Lala Diksha, who will be helping us. We have the wonderful Ms. Ntabiseng Pako, Mr. Mnobisime, who have been attending to students on our WhatsApp group, sharing the joining link, attending to students, asking them to share their experiences, their dreams. And this is very exciting because I have watched them religiously attend to that WhatsApp group on weekends, after hours, and I'm truly inspired by them. I wish that they could instill some of that patience, some of the tenacity, some of that compassion that they have shown these students in me. It's truly, truly amazing. Without further ado, I am going to call on our first speaker of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on the platform Dr. Enid Bitswane, the head of the counseling unit in Gauteng. Dr. Bitswane, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody, and greetings to all. It gives me a great pleasure to be here. As I have been introduced, I am Dr. Bungit Bitswane and the head of counseling in Gauteng. We are here today speaking in this platform because we are really passionate about our girl child. Women empowerment is easily one of my passion in life. I live my life understanding that whatever barriers I break, emancipate those that come after me. As the head of counseling, I strive to change and shape lives through the work we do as a team. Our journey with CELC is one of our strongest years. We started with CELC Take a Girl Child during its inception, where the girl child would visit our campuses and shadow academics as well as professional in their working environment, so that they should be able to gain insight and experience the real work that the professionals do in the careers of their choice. The counseling unit would give them speed tests so that they would be able to know where they should be placed in their career path. But unfortunately, due to COVID-19, such has come to an end. Hence, we are doing this in this virtual platform to share with you, young girls, the expertise that our young academics have within our midst. And as counseling, we have got different centers that you can visit so that you can be able to be assisted. We have got centers around Gauteng. One is in Vaal, the other one is in Florida, the other one is in Johannesburg, Ekurhuleni, as well as Sunnyside. As a young girl, you are also welcome to visit such centers so that you can be assisted in the following. We offer these following services. We love community, as we have seen on the projections of the slides that played before I could come to the platform. We offer these different services: personal counseling that deals with grief, relationship, all emotional related issues that can impact on your life as an individual. We also offer career counseling, whereby we guide individuals on careers that they can pursue after work. And we also, under career counseling, the grade 9s are offered subject choice so that they will be able to choose relevant subject when they go into grade 10. And furthermore, there are workshops that we offer, which we call them academic counseling. Here it includes issues like time management, skills, study skills, managing your stress. We offer that in the form of a group. And we also offer different events. Wellness events are offered, professional events are offered by counseling, like the one we had yesterday with Northeastern region. Such events, we offer them so that we can prepare our student for graduateness. When they leave campus, they should know exactly where to go and the challenges that they will be facing or different opportunities they can have in the workplace. And furthermore, because it won't be easy for all of you to remember this, we will paste our services on the chat so that you can refer to that as and when the program progresses. And I would have done an injustice if I did not recognize the collaborators. We are collaborating in this event with CELSI. They are the people who started this project. We say thank you, and we are honored to be part of you. And we also would like to send our appreciation to UNISA Women's Forum. They collaborated with us on this event so that they can also give back to the society. You are welcome, Women's Forum. We appreciate your enthusiasm to be part of grooming a girl child. Let me not go too long. Let me welcome everybody, and I look forward to be enriched by our speakers and the impact them, and so that they can impact the minds of our beautiful attendees. Before I take too much of your time, let the program begin. Thank you.
The volume at the bottom, take it all the way down. This one. Thank you so much, Dr. Pitwani. What a wonderful, lovely, warm welcome. Now, without further ado, I am going to call on our first speaker of the day. And our first speaker of the day is a wonderful colleague of ours here at the Sunnyside campus who works under the Gauteng umbrella. Ms. Thembeka Ntuli is a child of God, it is important to note, a mother of two, an ordained pastor leading a ministry with her husband, Pastor Mpapama. She is currently a communication and marketing manager of the Gauteng region. She has a master's degree in media studies from this round, served in the UNISA Women's Forum as a deputy communications and marketing officer, and she has over a decade worth of experience in digital media, planning, advertising, and marketing and communication. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Thembeka Ntuli Mpapa. Ms. Ntuli, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Program Director. As already introduced, my name is Thembeka Ntuli Mpapama. I'll be speaking on behalf of UNISA Women's Forum, Imbokodo Yase UNISA. A special greetings to management of the university, organizing team sponsors, fellow speakers present today, and our special guests, Abomo girls, Ama girls, Imbokodo, and men present here. We are honored as UNISA Women's Forum to be part of this exciting event on empowering young girls for the exciting future ahead of them. Program Director and delegates, UWF centers on empowering all women through information sharing, workshops, inspirational talks, and promoting the advancement of all women. Through its meeting, initiatives, and events, it aims to provide a platform for women. It aims to provide a platform for women to raise and discuss women-specific issues such as your gender-based violence. The UNISA Women's Forum supports the university's transformation agenda of the country. That said, it's time for girls. It's time for girl child to occupy spaces that were previously occupied by men. UNISA Women's Forum also collaborate with other women organizations such as your SAWIT and UN. While there's strong focus on empowering and recognizing women, we also saying we recognize the role that is played by men in our society. Some of the activities that we've planned for the year include upskilling and empowering of women, collaborating with communities. Dr. P has already alluded to this, so I will not dwell into it. UNISA Women's Forum also celebrate days like your Youth Day, Earth Day, and many others that impact on our society. Ladies Mantombazane, I wish to congratulate you once again for being part of this event. And this is a step closer for you in joining us in the higher level institution like UNISA. Thank you so much, Program Director. I'm truly looking forward to having this exciting story, which will be featured in UNISA Women's Forum page as well as on Income. Thank you so much. All the best for today's event. Bye.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ntuli Mpapama. Thank you so much for coming onto the platform and honoring our invitation. And my, after hearing you speak, I too feel like you have just empowered me. Without further ado, I am very much excited to call onto the platform our next speaker of the day. Now, before calling her onto the platform, I would just like to add how impressive this woman is. Truly, truly impressive. Ms. Mukundi Lambani is a woman who has over 10 years worth of experience in the South African film and television industry. She is a seasoned media entrepreneur, a lecturer, an educator. Her core interests lie in media technology research and development for advancing African education. Being an entrepreneur has developed her passion for building sustainability in creativity in the creative arts industry through enhancing and supporting strong administrative and practical perspectives. Ms. Mukundi Lambani, while her media studies have made her a dynamic creative leader and thinker, she is currently running an app called Ambani. And I hope that we are going to learn more about this app today, right? So without further ado, Ms. Mukundi Lambani, the platform is yours as you have requested control.
Great, thank you so much, Program Director. Thank you so much to UNISA Women's Forum and SALC for this fantastic opportunity. I'm very excited to be here. I'm just waiting for some permission to be able to share my presentation. In the meantime, I'll continue with my introduction. So as mentioned, my name is Mukundi. I run a company, a tech company. We're actually in ed tech, so educational technology, and the company is called Ambani Africa. And we focus on lots of different things, but one of the things we mainly focus on is how to make teaching and learning more accessible, particularly for foundation phase learners. And we do this through a focus on language. So a lot of times if you don't understand something, you can't necessarily learn it. So our focus is very much on language and also very much on how we can use technology to advance or make learning easier, to make learning more and more accessible. So I've titled this presentation, 3 Lessons That I've Learned as a Young Woman Tech Entrepreneur in South Africa. So as I mentioned, my name is Mukundi. I am from Thohoyandou in Limpopo. That's where I was born, and that's actually where I work from even now because I'm able to work online. After school, I studied film and TV. So I went to film school wanting to be an actress or a director because these were really the only roles I knew at the time. And then when I got there, I found that there were all of these other wonderful technical skills that I could learn behind the scenes. So I learned graphic design and film editing, and I was able to work for various television shows and work for the SABC. And then I was able to produce a competition called the 48-Hour Film Project. And that was really where I stepped into this role of entrepreneurship. So now I was able to manage different filmmakers. And I found that I didn't have enough business skills at the time to be able to do this. So I went back to school, I studied business administration, and I was able to co-found a production company with a few of my other colleagues. And then again, I took a real interest in just the technical aspects of the creative industry. So I was able to go and study creative technology. I was able to do a master's at Bournemouth University, funded by the NFVF, and that's where Ambani was started and founded. So I'm just going to do a little bit of an introduction to Ambani Africa and tell you a little bit of what we do. And then I'll tell you these 3 lessons that I've learned as a young entrepreneur. So as I said, Ambani is an edtech company. We really focus on early learning and how to make early learning more accessible and easier. One of the ways in which we do this is through augmented reality. So augmented reality or virtual reality is where you're able to take your advice and what you see through your advice, you're able to put things in your space that aren't necessarily in that space. So we work a lot through augmented reality. It's quite an interactive way for people to learn. We also have a free language gaming app. So if you've got your phone, you should look for Ambani Africa on all the app stores. And this is for young children to be able to learn languages in a fun way through games. We've got a web platform that is used in schools as well, and it's also gamified and it uses stories. And then one of the really important projects that we did is called the WhatsApp project. So we found that during COVID and all of these lockdowns, some learners were able to continue learning online quite easily, whereas others were not. And so we thought about how can technology help with this? How can we use something like WhatsApp to deliver learning specifically for grade 1 learners who are learning how to read and how to write? And so we developed a very cool WhatsApp bot that sends daily activities, automated activities to the parents' WhatsApp number, and the children are able to do different activities. They're able to send voice notes back and forth. They're able to write certain things and send pictures, etc. So that's just an example of some of the work that we do. So the first lesson in these 3 lessons that I mentioned, one is how your voice, your experiences, and your frustrations really matter. So a lot of times, okay, so I'm going to start with this question actually, and I'm going to ask if everyone can try and answer in the chat box. But what percentage of women do you think hold technical jobs in the top 10 global tech companies? So if you think of Google, if you think of Facebook, what percentage of women do you think are working in those positions? If you can, please just type that into the chat box. I'll give you a couple of seconds to type that. Just a wild guess of what percentage of women take up technical jobs in those spaces. Okay, so we've gotten a couple of guesses, some low, some exact, but it's actually only 19%. So you find that women only hold 19% of the tech-related jobs in these top 10 companies, whereas men hold 81% of these jobs. And you find that it starts even in high school, where boys, compared to girls, boys will sort of go for the STEM subjects. And I think the real tragedy of this is in this final sentence, which says, if only half of the population is designing our technology, then actually as users or as the audience, we're missing out on the insights, on the innovations, on the solutions that need to be coming from the other half, that need to be coming from women. So an example of this is Amazon's AI tool. So how it works is through machine learning. So basically, they found that they were getting a lot of job applications and they wanted a way to automate this. And so they decided they're going to use some AI, and this is, it works through machine learning. So basically you have to give the machine enough information for it to be able to find a pattern, for it to be able to learn, and then it's automatically able to do something. So they used the recruitment that they'd had for the past 10 years. So they said, let's take all of the CVs we've received for the past 10 years, feed this into the machine, show it the type of people we've selected, and then we believe that it'll be able to automatically select applications as it gets them. The problem was that the past 10 years, it had mostly been the same type of people getting employed. And so they actually found that the system was just repeating what had always been done. And this is why, especially when it comes to things like artificial intelligence, And why these machines show biases is because they are not exposed or they're not given enough information that's diverse. And so it's very, very important for women and for us as girls to take part in things like AI and machine learning. And this goes back a little bit to how Ambani started. So Ambani was really a reflection of my own desire, my own struggles as far as learning, especially learning language and the challenges that I had had. And it came down to what can I do based on my own experiences that I've had and this problem that I see that other people have. How can technology help to solve that? So in the interest of time, I'll just skip the video. But basically, technology is just not for technology's sake, but it's meant to make our lives better. So I think we have to think about our own experience and the things that frustrate us and how we can use technology to solve that and then bring that to the table. My second lesson, so my first lesson was about bringing your own experience and the importance of my voice as a woman in the tech industry. The second is you need creativity. So I like this definition of creativity that focuses on 3 elements, which is creative thinking, your own expertise, and then just your motivation. Motivation is really your willingness to do something, and no one can necessarily give that to you. It's just your own internal desire. But something you can really grow is your creative thinking and your expertise. And expertise is really about your bank of knowledge. So how much knowledge are you feeding in? And then creative thinking is how do you combine all of that different knowledge to come up with really interesting new ideas. So there are ways in which you can improve your creative thinking, and there are ways in which you can improve your knowledge bank. And that's through fluency and flexibility. So I believe that everyone is a creative and it's something that you work on. And fluency is really how quickly are you thinking about new ideas, and flexibility is how many different ways can you see something. And you really do this by continuously feeding your creative bank. So whether it's reading, whether it's watching things, whether it's speaking to people, whether it's learning, but you build your creative muscle by continuously learning and engaging. And so I appreciate this creative process, which says once you've sort of found the things that frustrate you and the things that challenge you and the things that you want to solve through technology, you can then come into this creative process where you investigate, where you research, where based on that bank of knowledge, you're able to generate really new and interesting ideas. And then you incubate, so you let the idea sit with you a little bit. You're able to evaluate how good this idea is. And then a very, very important step is to activate. When we speak about this internal motivation, I think it speaks to this word of entrepreneur. And it's really about that I'm an entrepreneur, but we don't necessarily, or not everyone will necessarily be an entrepreneur, but I think everyone can use the principles of entrepreneurship. And that's what we call an entrepreneur. So it means that you yourself are self-motivated, you're a problem solver, you're innovative, and you're a person of high integrity. So you're someone who can be trusted with whatever it is you are given to do. So the second lesson is really we're all creative and we're all entrepreneurs, and we have to bring these principles into all of the work that we do. The third lesson I've labeled No One Is Coming. And this is a great picture of me and my co-founders in a previous business. We had done this great work. We were nominated for an award overseas. We traveled there. We actually won this award, and we thought this was it. Like, we're now validated, and everyone's going to be coming to us, wanting to give us work, and finally we have permission. And we came home from winning this wonderful award, and it actually, nothing had changed. We still had to work just as hard. We still had to go out there and speak to clients. Like, people weren't coming as had been expected. And so I think this lesson is really that we shouldn't wait for someone to come and give us anything. We shouldn't wait for someone to choose us or for someone to give us opportunities. So don't wait to be given anything or to be validated by anyone else. Push and try to make things happen for yourself. And those are my 3 lessons, but I'll also leave with this very practical to-do list, which is, okay, we've heard kind of these lessons. We've heard that you have to think about the things that frustrate you and know that there's a tech opportunity there. You have to flex your creative muscles and come up with ideas, and then you have to get out there and do something about it. But where's a place where you can start right now? So I always say, of course, be aware of the things that frustrate you and feed your creative bank, but also find the tech of your interest. And what this means is that there's ed tech, fem tech, food tech, prop tech, health tech. There's literally a technical industry for anything that's of interest to you, fashion. And so find what the technical aspect or the technical industry of the industry that you're interested in, and make sure that you do things like curating your social media or joining groups and communities that focus on all of those different aspects. Reach out and find a peer mentor. So sometimes we think we have to go very far to find advice, but you find that there's someone in your community or someone who's a few years older than you, someone who's already started university or already started work. Reach out and engage and talk to those people, but really build your community around the things that you are interested in, and then stop waiting and get going. I didn't get to play the video, so I'll just play you a little video that shows a little bit of our work as Ambani Africa, so you get a sense of who we are. Yeah, let me end off there. I hope you'll be able to hear the audio.
Sanibanani bantwana. Mangithi sawubona wena uthi yebo, sawubona yebo, sawubona yebo. Uma ngithi sawubona wena uthi yebo, sawubona yebo, sawubona yebo. Unjani? Ngiyaphila. Ungubani? Ngizuri. Uphumaphi? Esikoleni. Uma ngithi unjani, uthi ngiyaphila. Unjani? Ngiyaphila. Unjani? Ngiyaphila. Uma ngithi unjani, uthi ngiyaphila. Unjani? Ngiyaphila. Sawubona yebo. Unjani? Ngiyaphila. Ungubani? Ngiwushoni. Hamba kahle, sala kahle. Uma ngithi hamba kahle, wena uthi sala kahle. Hamba kahle, sala kahle. Hamba kahle, sala kahle. Uma ngithi hamba kahle, wena uthi sala kahle. Hamba kahle, sala kahle. Uma ngithi sawubona wena uthi yebo, sawubona yebo, sawubona yebo. Uma ngithi hamba kahle, wena uthi sala kahle. Hamba kahle, sala kahle.
Didingwe, inkomo, tharu, amehlo, kunye, kunye, ilanga elilodwa, kubili, kubili, amafu amabili, kuthathu, kuthathu, zihlahla ezintathu, kune, kune, amakajamane, kuhlanu, kuhlanu,
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mukundi Lambani. That was a very lovely presentation. I'm just so sad that we couldn't see the visuals of your presentation like you said you had prepared for us. So yes, it is very sad, but I enjoyed that. I was actually dancing while you were playing that audio clip for us. We truly appreciate and are very grateful that you are here today, inspiring the girl child. Now, before I call on our next speaker, I would just like to apologize for any of the technical difficulties that we've been experiencing since our program commenced. Unfortunately, that is not in our control, and we are very grateful to everybody who is here and working with us through our technical difficulties. With that being said, this is an event for women, young queens specifically, and we're looking forward to inspiring these young queens. That doesn't mean that it does not allow for us to bring a male figure to come onto the platform and inspire these young queens. As women and as a feminist, we are always looking out into the world, looking for allies to help us in promoting and empowering women and young girls, gender equality. So we are truly grateful for the next speaker who will be coming on, who is not a woman, but rather a man, a gentleman, and a doctor at that. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is Dr. Elvis. Dr. Elvis is a doctor of environmental sciences who obtained his PhD at the University of Antwerp in Belgium. In addition, he holds a Master's of Arts degree in Community and Youth Work from Durham University in the UK. He studied locally as well, obtaining 2 degrees from the University of Limpopo and dropping out of an opportunity at Durham University. Dr. Elvis Ngwana also led both in the SRC as a secretary and later as a president. He won several awards along the way, most notably the Friends of David Anderson Africa Trust, and recently the Principal Prize of Excellence in Research at the University of South Africa. He worked briefly as an assistant researcher in the International Institute of Applied Research System Analysis. It's IIASA, and I hope he'll just take us through that because I have many questions regarding that. In Luxembourg, Austria, Dr. Ngwana is now a senior lecturer at the University of South Africa and aspires to become a professor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the platform Dr. Elvis Ngwana.
Oh yes, there I am. Yeah, thank you very much, Millicent, for your warm introduction. And yes, that is at IIASA at Luxembourg, next to Vienna in Austria. You know, that's where I did my research internship. I was quite honored to be there. It's a very prestigious institution. It is rated within the top 5 think tanks in the whole world. So it was quite an honor for me to be there. I did drop out of an opportunity at the University of the Western Cape when I was doing my master's degree to go and pursue my other master's degree at the University of Durham in England, in the county of Durham. It's just 1 borough before Scotland, so that's where I stayed for about a year. You know, so the reason why I'm saying all of these things is because for me, education is very important. It's very important, and I think that young ladies, you know, I think our girls should get an education for various reasons that I'm going to mention. Just a few of them. Actually, my presentation is quite short. I do not want to bore your colleagues and our young ladies. It's about 5 pages. You know, I'll only be speaking on 2 pages. Because I see that my presentation has already been projected, I would like to ask Millicent or admin to go to the 2nd page if they can. Yes, thank you very much. So the reason why I chose to project this lady, Zozi, all of you know her for sure. Is that she said something very important, and then you will see it in the next slide. But now let's remain on this slide. You know, Mentuli, who just spoke before the previous speaker, said something about occupying space. You know, this is very profound. If you thought about it, it is very profound, because even the previous speaker was talking about how women are underrepresented in the top 10 or the top 500 tech companies in Silicon Valley and all over the world. You know, so I think the lady that I've just projected here, she's a true embodiment of how, you know, how our young ladies, how our girls from rural areas, for her from the rural Eastern Cape, they could rise to the top of the world, you know. And I deliberately wrote some of her, or the best of her accomplishments here. Zozi was Miss South Africa in 2019. You know very well that she relinquished the title and passed it on after she won Miss Universe in 2019. I'm not that familiar with this contest, but I do know that Miss Universe, I studied science at university, and I know that there's the world and there's the universe, you know. So the world is in the universe. So I'm trying to explain a point is that Miss Zozi, she's Miss Universe, not Miss World. So I'll assume that Miss Universe is larger than Miss World, you know. And I think this is a very big accomplishment for anyone in the whole world. Whether you are in Brazil, whether you are in the United States of America, whether you are in India, whether you are in Africa, anywhere you are, this is the biggest accomplishment, you know, to become Miss Universe. And as a man, I'm very proud of her. And I would also like to mention her age. She's only 27 years of age. Well, she was born, I think, in 1990. Is it 1993? You know, and most of our young ladies that we are motivating today, they are still in their teen years, you know. But she's not that old. I mean, she might be 12, 13 years older, 15 years older, 16 years older than most of the ladies that we are talking to today. But what I'm saying is that, you know, they should aspire to this woman. And also because she's educated as well, you know, she's not just beautiful, you know, she's not just pretty, she's intellectual, she has an intellectual prowess. So she's educated. She holds a national diploma in public relations management from CPUT, Cape Peninsula University of Technology. Interesting enough, when I was at the University of the Western Cape, in the Western Cape province, the Western Cape is only separated by CPUT, Cape Peninsula University of Technology, only by a road, by a tarmac road that passes through both of them. They're actually neighboring universities. So this is quite interesting as well, something that I noted. And then also she's from the rural areas of the Eastern Cape, and she was able to move from the rural areas to Sandton, you know, the top of Africa, I think. And then she also went to New York City, the top of the world, I think. You know, so this is very great. So those are just a few things I wanted to say about this wonderful lady as an inspiration before I moved on. Could we please go to the next slide? Yes. So the topic that I'm speaking about is educating yourself for gender equality and empowerment, because I was asked by the organizing committee to speak specifically on issues of gender equality and empowerment. And I did look around and I found that Zozi is the best example. She's the best embodiment of this. And she said something very profound. And she said that when she was asked, when she was questioned, you know, when a question was posed to her in the Miss Universe context, and she said that women should take up space. You know, this is very important. So how can women take up space in important decision-making responsibilities? For example, these responsibilities might be in leadership positions at work, such as directors, such as chief executives, in expert leadership fields, such as scientists, such as becoming engineers, medical specialists, academics that are here today that we are blessed with their presence, and in culture as well. I mean, our previous speaker was talking about how she's in the culture field, you know, on media, on TV, on films, you know, on documentaries, on performing arts. How can women, actually, young ladies, take up the space? To talk about that, I'll finally, I think, ask the admin, Millicent, could you please take us to the next slide? Yes, you know, so this slide contains most of the things that I'm going to speak about. So I think the first important thing for me in the field of education is that young ladies should educate themselves to take up these spaces. So because the important thing is that if you're not educated, you will not be invited to the spaces. These spaces sometimes are invited spaces, and you know, and they invite you based on the skills, the capabilities, and the qualifications that you have. This is very important. And young ladies, are responsible for their education now. You know, this is very important. Young ladies are not expected to be doing anything at the moment. The only thing that they're expected to be doing is going to school. So when you're in high school, the only expectations that comes from your parents, that comes from your teachers, that comes from your uncle, your aunts, your family, your relative, your community, is that you have to educate yourself. This is the only thing that should be preoccupying our young ladies and our girls. Education should be their only priority for now. And extramural and extracurricular activities are important because they make you to become a whole-rounded person. They teach you a set of skills that you will need when you go further. Let me give you an example. When I was applying for the scholarships to go and study in England and in Belgium, they did ask about my academic accomplishments. They were important. I mean, they asked about what degrees do I have. They asked about my academic record. How did I perform in my school? But they also asked a very important questions. And they asked about my extracurricular activities, my extramural, my extracurricular activities. So I had to say to them, you know what? I was part of the debating team. I won this prize. I was part of the student representative council at the university, and they did want to hear this. And this is one of the reasons that they awarded me the scholarship, because they did mention that they wanted a well-rounded person. So you're supposed to be a well-rounded person. As much as you are succeeding in your academics, you will soon realize that once you want to become involved in leadership activities, once you want to become involved in solving societal problems, you must also have other set of skills outside of academia, so outside of school. But having said that, I must also emphasize that extracurricular activities should not take the most of your time. What should be taking priority of your time are books. You know, books are very important. And then extracurricular activities, extramural activities, although they are very important, they should also take a small part of your time. So you must be very careful about how you manage your time. And this is very important because you are living in an age of social media. You know, the social media is very omnipresent, so it is all over. It's very pervasive in our society because we have access to smartphones at all times. And our young ladies, the girls, they do have access to this. They have access to social media. They have access to the internet. And unfortunately, in social media, what we see today and on the internet, we are seeing this thing of the slave queen lifestyle that is being portrayed. And we find that, unfortunately, that most of this slave queen lifestyle is funded by blessee relationships, is funded by older rich men, you know, who brings nothing but trouble in the lives of these young ladies. So it is good for our ladies to get an education and live the slave queen lifestyle that they fund themselves, you know, that they drive their own cars, go to nice restaurants, wear nice clothes, you know, use nice phones that they buy themselves. This is very important. As a man, I would like to encourage our young ladies to do this, to get an education so that they can fund their own slave queen lifestyle, you know. And they should also learn, you know, our young ladies should learn to switch off social media and the internet and actually focus on reading their books. You know, social media will always be there. The internet will always be there. But unfortunately, in terms of studying, especially when you're still in high school and when you're still at undergraduate level at university, these are the two critical times where you are supposed to manage your time. Let me give you an example. If you finish your high school, you go to university, you finish your undergraduate degree, you go, you get a job, you become a lawyer. Fine. You can always choose to go and do your postgraduate degrees, your Master of Law, your Doctor of Law. You can even do it with us at UNISA part-time while you are working as a lawyer, you know. But with an undergraduate qualification, you know, it is very difficult to get it, because there are loads of challenges at that stage, because as a young person, you are still in your formative years. You are still persuaded by so many things, including social media. But if you manage to finish that stage, you can always come back and say, you know what, I can go and work first. I might do postgraduate qualifications later. But if you don't get your undergraduate degree, you're not going to be able to work anywhere, especially in a decent job. And you're not going to be able to take up space, you know? So our young ladies should learn to switch off social media and the internet. And interestingly, I was watching a video some few days ago about one of the executives of the fintech, of the social media companies. And they said that they don't allow their children to be on social media until in their late teens. And this was very profound for me. They said that, let me repeat this. They said that they don't allow their children to be on social media until in their late teens. I'm not discouraging people to use social media. I think social media is very important. Like for now, we were reading very nice presentations or testimonials. I don't know what to call them, of introductions, yes, biographies of these young ladies that they were posting on WhatsApp, on our WhatsApp group, and I really enjoyed reading them and getting to know them and understanding their future plans. And also, no, I was not finished. Sorry, I'm about to be finished now. I also wanted to speak about the issue of GBV, gender-based violence, and I would like to impress on our young ladies that, you know, one of the solutions to GBV is to get the young ladies, the young girls, educated. When you are educated, you are financially independent. When you are educated, you know information about support services if you are a victim of GBV. When you are educated and when you are financially independent, you get into relationships on a mutual basis. You don't say stay in a relationship because someone is giving you money or someone is supporting you financially. So one of the solutions to address the issue of GBV is for our young ladies themselves to get an education. And also issues of teenage pregnancy. When young ladies are educated, they choose to have children at a later stage. You know, they know the choices that they have in family planning, and they delay gratification. They choose to have children when they finish their undergraduate qualification, when they have their postgraduate qualifications, sometimes even when they are in stable relationships or when they're even married. So I think that way I would like to advocate education for these reasons. Could you please go to the slide? Yes, to conclude, our beloved departed leader, Tata Madiba, said that education is a precondition. Pardon? Oh, sorry. He said that education is a precondition for development, and I do agree with this gentle departed soul. And could you go to the last slide, please? And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you. I would like to thank CELC. I would like to thank UNISA. I would like to thank all the partners that I did not acknowledge here. I would like to thank also the previous speakers and the speakers that will speak after me. And I'd also like to thank you, Madam Millicent, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alva Singwana. I am feeling very inspired looking at the number of qualifications that you currently hold under your belt. It is really hard to not wish that a person too can one day obtain those qualifications. Before I continue, I would like to welcome our guests from, is it Riverside High School? We welcome you. Yes, thank you. We're truly honored to have you join in as guests. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Hi, ladies.
We are happy.
We are very much happy to have you here also. It is okay for you to attend and have your camera off and mute your mics, as long as you are able to receive the audio from our side and the side of the speakers when they are on the platform, then you are good. You are good. Thank you very much for honoring the invitation. We're very much excited for you to join us. Unfortunately, you have missed out on quite a bit, but don't panic. We still have a jam-packed event for you, and we hope that by the end of this event, we will have our young queens aspiring to be the likes of Miss Mukundi Lambani, Dr. Elvis Ngwana, Miss Mantuli, and more. We're truly honored to have you here. Now, before I continue to the next speaker, I would like to remind everyone that the main aim behind this event is to empower and inspire the girl child, right? And CELSI does this religiously every year without fail. And it is truly an honor to be given this platform to come before you all in attempts to bring us all together and remind the girl child that they are important, that they can do anything they put their minds to. Without further ado, I am going to call on our next speaker. Our next speaker is Professor Mabelebele, an agricultural scientist with more than 8 years worth of experience in lecturing at tertiary level. She has a PhD in animal sciences from the University of New England in Australia. Professor Mabelebele has an MSc and BSc from the University of Limpopo. She was a postdoctoral fellow at the Newcastle University in the United Kingdom. She is currently working with the University of South Africa as an associate professor in the Department of Agriculture and Animal Health. Professor Mabelebele is lecturing modules, supervising postgraduate students involved in several community-based projects, which I hope we'll be learning more about as she proceeds to take us through her presentation. Professor Mabelebele is a sub-editor of the South African Journal of Animal Sciences. That sounds very heavy, and I'd like to learn more about that if I don't speak so for myself. In 2020, she was a recipient of the UNISA's Emerging Women in Research Prize of Excellence in Research. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the platform Professor Mabelebele.
Before I begin, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the UNISA Counselling Unit, the UNISA Women's Forum, and CELSI for organizing this event. And furthermore, it is an honor to be part of today's event. And I would also like to thank everyone who is here present today. When I got the invite from Dr. Florence, who is our women representative in the College of Agriculture, and I thought to myself, what would be a better way to motivate young girls and our beautiful women in academy than sharing my story? And so today I'm going to be sharing my brief story about my journey. And I was born in rural Limpopo from a village called My Darling, and it's definitely on the map. And I went to a rural school all my life, that is from primary to secondary. And when I was in secondary, I majored in maths and science. And both my parents were unemployed and are still unemployed. And I remember my dad had a backyard. I cannot even call it a small scale goat farming, but he had a backyard goat farming at that time. And I think that is the bond I shared with my dad. I had the love for animals. I was interested in agricultural things, and I'm very close to him even to date, just because we share that love together. And so during the last year of my matric, I applied, just like any other student, I applied for admission at the University of Pretoria. And I wanted to study towards a BVSC, which is Bachelor of Veterinary Science. And I remember very well that I only applied to that one university and for that only choice of study. I had so much faith and hope that I would be accepted for the degree I wanted, and at that only university I wanted to study in. Now here's the thing. I think I always wanted to be a vet and nothing else. I didn't have a second choice. Fast forward into the new year, where after I matriculated, I did not receive any communication from University of Pretoria. So I told my mom and dad, I want to travel to Pretoria and I want to go inquire. So I spoke to my cousin. I took my bag. I remember I took all my documentations and I traveled to University of Pretoria by taxi. I slept over at my cousin's place. I woke up so early. You know what they say about the earliest bird? And I went to University of Pretoria in the morning at the inquiry desk, and I asked the lady, I haven't received any communication, and the only letter I received from UP was the acknowledgement of receipt of my admission. And so she checked on the system for me, and she told me that I was not accepted into the Bachelor of Veterinary Science. You know what? I think I was crushed. I was hopeless. I felt like I didn't know what to do. I was rejected for the only thing I wanted to be, Bachelor of Veterinary Science. I wanted to be a vet. And while as I was in the midst of hopelessness and, feeling crushed, I got a call from one of my friends from high school who told me, hey, look, there's a space for Bachelor of Science at the University of Limpopo. You can come, And because I didn't have any plan B, I packed my bags and I left. I went to University of Limpopo. I was admitted into Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, Animal Science. And at that time, I felt like animal science was the only thing that was close to being a veterinarian. And in my head, I was like, I'm gonna pass this 4-year degree with distinctions. I'm gonna work so hard, and I'm gonna go back to UP and start again and do my Bachelor of Veterinary Science, because that's what I wanted. So I stayed at the University of Limpopo. It was definitely not part of the plan. And while I was there, I surrounded and associated myself with people that wanted to achieve as much as I did. I was committed into my studies, and fast forward 4 years into my degree, it was the 27th of May, and I won't tell you the year probably because you guess how old I am now. So it was the 27th of May, it was a Thursday, and I was graduating on that day. My mom and dad were there. And all this time, I wanted to make my parents proud. I wanted to be the first graduate in the family. I wanted to rewrite the history. And on that day when my name was called, I remember seeing my mom and dad, and the director of school then, Professor Michelle, said, this degree has been conferred to Munye Mabilibili with cum laude. And I think nobody understood in the hall what cum laude meant. And the director paused and said, do you understand what this means? This means that this candidate obtained distinctions from first year into final year. I had graduated my Bachelor of Science in Agriculture cum laude. And on that day, I was the only person who had obtained my Bachelor of Science cum laude. And I remember my mom and dad were jubilating, they were so excited. I had tears of joy running through my eyes. I had achieved. And I was the first graduate in my family. I had rewritten the history, but I wanted to achieve more. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be a doctor. And that's the only thing I wanted to be. And I remember my now mentor, Professor Norris, who's the Vice Chancellor of Botswana University, he said to me, you know what, if you do go to UP, it's what you want, you can, but however, it will be the longest route. My advice is that you start making applications to do your master's abroad. And when I listened to the speaker before me, Dr. Elvis and Mukumbi, I was so excited that they also went and studied abroad. I mean, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to start preaching to our young girls, that those opportunities are there. And Professor Norris said, you know what, I have 2 scholarships that are open to study in Wageningen University in the Netherlands. I had to apply for admission. Of course, I made entrance and I applied for scholarship. I remember I was shortlisted with one lady and she got accepted. I got rejected. And this was the second time I got rejected. The first time was in the UP University. Now, for a scholarship to study in Wageningen University, I was starting to question a lot of things. I was starting to ask if this was a reflection of my ability, if perhaps I was not as good as I thought I was. It demotivated me in a way. But Professor Norris, I remember he said, you know what, instead of just moping and crying, register for your master's in University of Limpopo. Don't waste any time. Right after my graduations, my 4th year degree, I went straight into my master's at the University of Limpopo. I didn't understand a thing. I didn't want to be there, but I gave it my all. And at that time, I stayed at the University of Limpopo. 2 years later, I remember graduating my master's again, cum laude. And I knew I was a step closer to being a doctor, although it might not be a vet doctor, but it was a doctor in any case, something I've always wanted. I worked hard, and in the last year of my master's, I still again applied to those international universities, to those international scholarships, and with no success. I remember I took an offer for an internship in with the Department of Agriculture for a year and went back to the University of Limpopo again as a lecturer. This was definitely not part of the plan. I didn't think that things will pan out like this, but they did. And, you know, I was a master's holder from the University of Limpopo, a bachelor's 4-year degree holder from the University of Limpopo. I was now employed by the University of Limpopo. And, you know, there was no I didn't diversify. I felt like, you know, perhaps, like, again, this is a reflection of my ability. And, you know, while I was a lecturer there, I applied to do my master's, which was mandatory, of course, to do my PhD with the University of Pretoria, and I got accepted. I continued to apply for those international universities again, and those international scholarships. I never gave up. And at that time, remember, when I was doing my PhD, I was a full-time employee of the University of Limpopo. While I was there at the University of Limpopo, I ensured that I collaborated with colleagues in my department and outside my department. I was involved in every data collection of almost every student who was there. I was the youngest in the department, and therefore it was mandatory, not really mandatory, but it was, I assisted the students with the writing up of publications. I attended conferences. I had mentors that motivated me to work hard and never give up. And when I was doing my PhD at the University of Pretoria as well, I remember one professor, I remember this email very, very well. Professor Paul E.G. from Australia. He wrote an email and said, "Hi, Munye, I hope you still have that scholarship from the NRF you told me about. If you still do, I have an offer for a PhD, and there's a scholarship, the Vice Chancellor scholarship, if you can apply for it and apply for admission again, and then perhaps you can come to Australia." I was so excited. Look, I wanted to drop out of my studies at UP at that time without caring about the fact that all my preparations to go to Australia was in place. But I had to wait. I made sure that I get study leave. I made sure that my tickets, you know, I buy tickets and all of that necessities. And while I was at it, I remember, you know, I told Professor Norris, my mentor, and I said, you know what, I got an offer to go to Australia and I'm leaving. And he said, good move. But I had a death case at home at that time. I think it was almost the same time. It was a very, very close sibling of mine. And again, I was really, really crushed. I remember telling my mom and dad, and I said, I don't know if I should really go to Australia because I'm not sure if I'll have the support system that I have at home, or I should just stay and let it go. And my parents said to me, old as they were and old as they are, they said to me, you know what, this is what you've always wanted. And you must hop into that flight to Australia the moment everything falls in place. And I did that. I remember going to Australia, and it was a dream come true. I've always wanted to study abroad. I've always wanted to be different. I've always wanted to diversify, and I knew opportunities were there. I kept knocking, I kept asking, I kept searching. I knew they were there. And even though I got denied a lot of times, I did not give up. And while I was in Australia, I took up a job at the tomato farm. I was working there full time, 6 o'clock in the morning till 3:30 I'm at uni till 11 p.m. And that was my life for 3 good years. I worked so hard. And in 2016, when I was finalizing my PhD studies, I hope I'm not running out of time, but I'm summing up. In 2016, when I was running up my PhD studies, I remember there was a job advert in UNISA for a senior lecturer, and I applied. I said, I'm not going back to University of Limpopo. I am not going back to University of Limpopo. I remember I applied and I did a telephone interview. I landed the job. At that time of my application, I had 20 articles from my master's work, from collaborations with colleagues, and of course from my PhD work. My research profile was starting to take shape. And in 2016, July, I joined UNISA, and my career was beginning to take shape. I was an independent researcher. I started to write proposals for funding. I started accepting students for master's and PhD supervision. I started teaching modules. I started, working on community engagement projects in agriculture. And every single proposal that I wrote from 2016 to 2019 got rejected. My first approved funding was in 2020. And at that 2020, I remember I was in UK for a postdoc fellowship, and I had started a small family. I think my daughter was a year old, and I think I was also pregnant at that time, but I was doing my postdoc anyway. Look, I would do anything to look for new opportunities. I would do anything to acquire new knowledge, and I would do anything to be different, to be set apart. And I'm hoping that the young girls that are here today, there's something that I always tell my students. You are young, you are Black, you are female, you're South African, you're educated. This is this should open doors for you. You should understand the times. It's time for a Black, young, female South African, and understand this and get it in your head that it is your time. You must keep knocking on those doors. You must keep searching, and you must keep asking. And were you able to project my slide? Yes, if you go to the next slide, please. My story. And not in any particular order, but in my story, there are certain things I picked. I was patient with the process. I had passion for what I wanted to do. I was persistent. I never gave up. And I worked hard. I had the hunger, I had the drive. Hence I said I kept knocking, I kept asking, and I kept searching. And most importantly, I'm a woman of faith. I prayed. When things did not go well, I prayed. And today I say, whatever you have your faith in, you know what? Have faith in that thing with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And I'm going to close this talk, if you go to my last slide, with my favorite basketball player, Michael Jordan. And I have a lot of his shoes. So every time I traveled, this was an opportunity for me to get his sneakers. And he said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost more than 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. And with that, I thank you.
Wow. Inspirational. Yes, I think it does really, truly deserve a hand clap. Thank you so much for sharing such a personal story, a story of hunger, a story of faith, and a story of a strong drive to succeed and achieve, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your situation. Now, colleagues, before I continue, I would just like to take this moment to remind everybody that on the chat box, my colleagues are working tirelessly to keep you informed and keep you updated. There has been an evaluation link that has been posted on the chat box. If you could just kindly take a few minutes of your time to quickly go onto that evaluation link and help us, because when you evaluate us, you are helping us improve on the standards of our services, and we truly need that, because I mean, it is a pandemic. We do not have students constantly walking in who can just freely give us guides on, okay, you could improve here and there. So we really truly appreciate it when people take time to go and evaluate us via the evaluation link. Now, another moment of appreciation I would like to give to our colleagues, Ms. Ntabiseng Phako, Ms. Gugu, Mr. Munobisi Mai, Ms. Itumeleng Mahwane, Ms. Dikshalala, Miss Nyamagazi, Khumudzo, everybody, every person on this team who is working tirelessly to make sure that people are joining in, people are connecting, people are receiving whatever information they need, even with all the technicalities that we've experienced. We truly appreciate you. Now, I'm very excited to introduce our next speaker to you all, not only because we have shared a similar path, but also because she's a relative of mine who shares a surname with my mother. Now, Miss Batobile is a student representative, a student activist who led in BLA, that is Black Lawyers Association, as a deputy secretary in the Johannesburg branch, who was also a media and publicity officer of the NEC, National Executive Council of BLA. That is the shortest bio I've ever read. This person is a true comrade, if I say so myself. Ms. Batobile, the stage is yours, please.
Thank you, program director. I don't know whether am I audible enough.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to take this opportunity, and I'm so grateful to be the part of people that will speak. And yes, yes, I am a comrade, but with the most, I'm in academia. But yes, I make sure, like my passion is student, and then whatever that stress them, it gives me also sleepless night. So yeah, I would say that I am, yes, in comrade in a way. I don't have much to say, but Jay, this is a very, very progressive session that's I've attended so far, despite the COVID and everything. I think people have seen me. Please, can I just switch off the camera? I would say that this technology of a thing, it's a new thing to us. Your speakers, they've spoken like a lot, and I hope our young girls, they hear what because we are in the process of learning. Your Dr. Elvis spoken. I count. Wow, I'm so touched with the presentation of a Prof. Mabelabela. Wow, it's overwhelming. I'm so touched. Like, in fact, it makes me not to even like whatever that I wanted to say. Like everything, just like what I would say that whatever that it was presented before me. Wow, it's a wow. It's a really, we really need to take up the space as a women. On my side, there's nothing much to say. That's J. The only thing that that gives me joy is to see young girls, because to be a girl, it's not a disease. We don't need a man to babysit us. We just need to explore. Believe in yourself. Whatever that is in you. Everybody, when God created, He gave you a dream. Give that dream a chance. Make sure that you live your dream every day. For sure, you will meet discouragement. People, they will be telling you this and that. But as a woman, make sure that you stand your ground. Make sure that you are not moved by whatever someone says, because whether you do good or you don't do anything, people will always talk. So as for me, I have this thing in my mind that to be a girl, to be a woman, a black woman, it's not a disease, and it doesn't make me to be inferior to the other women of other colors. The only thing that it takes us, the only thing that I, as a woman, to do is to make sure that I align myself with the dream that I have. I shouldn't look at the other person's dream, because if I will compare myself with any other person, I will miss my own dream, because there's a reason why I'm a Black woman, and there's a reason why I'm a Black girl. Not like if I'm not not a male, but there's a reason for me to be a girl. So the only thing I need to find out why I'm a girl and why I'm living, because we must understand good, it's not everyone who is like me, and I'm not like anyone. I'm unique in my own way as a young Black person. The only thing that I would just say to encourage the girls, it's that, as Dr. Elvis was saying, that we must give more time to our books, focus most on our books, less on the social media. And then even if you are on that social media, be on that platform that you are learning. You are not just following people that they don't have direction. Make sure that you find your own, and then focus on who you are, and then focus on people that they have traveled the path that you want to take, and follow them, learn on them how they do, so that you yourself, you will be able to be using whatever strategies that they were using. Yes, there will be some kind of different diversion, a small bit, because of the times and seasons are not the same, but you will have that kind of a background on how to do whatever that you want to do as a person. And then make sure that you align yourself with those people, and then make sure that you learn from them. And to be a student activist is not an easy thing to do, but it's doable, because you have to divide your time into student, your books, your life. So you must be hands-on. It's not an easy way to do, but it's doable. I would just advise the girls that it is doable, and you will get to be exposed into different things that will make you to grow. Even like your knowledge, you grow, because you are meeting different people. Like today, we are here, gathering here. We are learning that some stories. Like when you are listening to it, like you goosebumps will be like, wow, is it, that means it's possible, me too, I can achieve whatever that I want to achieve in life. The only thing that will make me to achieve is to be focused, make sure whatever that I'm doing it with whole heart. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Batobiles Melane. We truly appreciate you coming onto the platform and sharing your experience and your views on women in governance. Now, because this was such a well thought of event in hopes of motivating and inspiring the girl child, we thought we would have two representatives in women in governance, just to remind our young ladies the importance of leading in their own right. I'm going to call up our next speaker, Ms. Lerato, who will be granted 5 minutes because she was meant to share the platform with Ms. Batobiles Melane. Ms. Lerato also shared a very tiny brief bio with us, where she states that she has a BCom Business Informatics qualification from the University of South Africa and is a former UNISA Johannesburg Regional Secretary. So, Ms. Lerato, the platform is yours.
Okay, let me greet everyone who's here, the learners, the students, the graduates, academics, doctors, UNISA management, the UNISA employees, and most importantly, the graduates and our young girls who are here. Well, my bio is not that short. I just have to give you the shortest one, since in our environment of comrades, we enjoy introducing ourselves actually, as we can unpack it properly. So adding to the BCom Business Informatics that I acquired with UNISA, I also completed a cybersecurity awareness and innovation certificate. Well, I am a former UNISA Johannesburg Region SRC Secretary, which is the Student Representative Council. That's why I am here today as representing women in governance. Further to that, in 2018, I was nominated for Young Woman of the Year Award by APSIP Student Chapter, looking at how I channeled the issues of the female student and opened a door for them working with the social workers in UNISA Johannesburg region. And even though I didn't win, I made it to the finalist. So I guess that also can add to that. Further to that, I have completed a boot camp at We Think Code, which I can share with our young girls who are here that there is an organization called We Think Code. You can check it on the social medias, which opens for students or learners or young people who want to pursue their careers in coding, which is software engineering. So if you have any interest in pursuing your career path in such, you can check them up, apply, and if you pass your bootcamp, they are going to be taking you up for a program of 2 years, which includes the internship, and it's for free. So I'm hoping this can assist those young girls and also the boys who needs or have interest in completing their career or pursuing software engineering, which includes coding, the development, and all sorts. Not taking much time on that, I'm going to just touch on the history of women in politics. I know here we are here to motivate young girls, but it is important sometimes to share where we come from as women in South Africa, especially in politics, government, and governance. As we look now, it is only over the last 3 or 4 decades that women's role in the history of South Africa has been given some recognition. Previously, history of women in political organization, the struggle of freedom were oppressed. For community rights and importantly for gender equality was largely ignored in the history. Not only did most of this older book leans heavily towards white political development, but also focused on the achievement of men and visually leaving women out of South African history. So basically, women were ignored and they were suppressed. They were not given enough opportunities and they were not even allowed to spread their wings as women. By sources, the reason for this invisibility of women calls for some explanation, even now. We don't have to stop now saying that at least now we are given an opportunity, because it's an at least part of it. We are not fully allowed to spread our wings, especially also in politics. South African society are conventionally patriarchal. I'm sorry to say that, but the patriarchy still exists and the patriarchy is still there, where women are suppressed everywhere. In politics, it's worse. And as a young girl who is upcoming, some of you will want to pursue your political lives or be involved in politics. which it is important for you to also learn about all these things. Women's role in history was primarily a domestic one. We were subjected to just childbearing, seeing the well-being, feeding and caring of the family. That was the role of a woman as men were seeing them. Well, now, we do have an opportunity to go into spaces, but they are still limited. Women, they were not expected to concern themselves with matters outside the home. Economic activity beyond the home was acceptable but not considered feminine. However, with the rise of the industry economy, the growth of towns and development of the migrant labor system, the prescription on the role of women, as we shall see, came to be overthrown. But as I said, it is still limited, especially in politics. So I'm going to touch on gender equality and genderizing the deployment of females in governance. Well, we are saying there is gender equality that is happening. The gender equality, according to us women, it should be 50%. It should be 50, but we are 70-30. With the gender equality that they are saying it exists, it is not really happening. And the women are not being given an equal exposure as men. This thing, it has been turned into genderizing the deployment of female in governance, where you are going to be given a position just because they want to balance the gender. Most of the time, if you follow politics, you will find that women are being subjected and reduced to deputizing and additionals. When you rise as a woman saying, this is the position that I want, you are being told, but you are a woman. I have been there as a student politician, and I've been subjected to such, where I am told that, but you are just a woman. What is it that you know about chairing or being the president or being the secretary? This thing is for men. Well, as much as they think that they have power upon us, they are wrong. With all the suppression that they gave us or they portrayed towards us, we can still rise and take up the space. We need to take up the space as women, also in politics, not only in career paths and all those kind of things. Also in governance, we need to take up spaces. I'm going to give you an example of the cabinet that I led in. We had made sure that we are led by a female president whose name is Zandile Sodlala. Men didn't agree to that because she was a female anyway. But that doesn't mean that as a female, we are not equal to task. So to you young girls who are upcoming and want to be in the political space, this thing is not for men. This thing is not for these people who appears on TVs wearing the regalia, saying we are leadership and you are masses, or you need to be singist or the followers of a man. And you don't need a man to be deployed in governance. You don't need a man to pursue your career in politics. Men will come and say, okay, you can work with me, support me, I will give you this. No, don't do that. As a female who led in politics, there was no man who went and kicked a door for me. I kicked all doors for myself. I worked for the student and I was there. doing the duty that I was appointed for. At the end of the day, my work was recognized as a woman. I left my mark as a woman. So this thing of saying you are a woman and you can't or you can, it needs to end. We need to stand up for ourselves. We need to be the woman that we are. We need to carry our crowns with passion and dignity. We need to rise our head high so that you don't have to listen to a man who must say that you can't enter there because there it's a male dominated. Yes, it's a male dominated, then what? You are capable as a young girl who is coming up. You can do this as much as men have done it. So without taking any more time, because this one is one topic that is close to my heart and I can speak the whole day about it. I can see that the program director is already alerting me that your time is up. And let me conclude by telling you that as previous speakers said that education is important. I will advise each and every one of you who is here to focus on their education, as important as it is. And education is not writing UNISA assignment, submitting, copying from your friend and everything about that. No, UNISA, if you are coming to UNISA, it's a distance learning. So you will need to tell yourself that I am an adult and I am in an education environment. So you need to be hands-on about your education. Get educated. Don't listen to that you are going to be educated and you are going to be unemployed. Anyway, as women, we are, the unemployment rate it's on us. But if you are educated, that is going to be easier for you to open the doors that you want to open and the person you want to. Let me just conclude by reminding you of Mama Winnie's proverb that says, to those who opposes us as women, we say you strike a woman, you strike a rock. Wathinta abafazi, wathinta imbokodo. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lerato. Yes, thank you. Yes, I mean, that is, I mean, those words must be burned on billboards, in highways, everywhere, in all communities, reminding and affirming the young girl that indeed, wathinta abafazi, wathinta imbokodo. With that being said, I'd like to remind our attendees that yes, we do have a mystery box. This mystery box is for our young queens. It consists of airtime with 200, right? Now, how this airtime is going to be given away will be dependent on the pledging. We are going to have a session of pledging where we will be giving away this airtime to 4 participants. We have our judges, our secret judges. I won't tell you who they are, but I will say when it's time to pledge, do the most, because our judges will be looking out for the best pledge of all time, right? So our airtime will be given to 4 lucky winners according to how well they pledged. Each one will receive I almost said 500. Lord, we don't have 500. 50 rands worth of airtime to each of our 4 ladies who will be pledging for us today. Now, without further ado, I'm going to call up our next speaker from the UNISA Women's Forum. Prof. Matikane is a Fulbright scholar who has a PhD from the University of Witwatersrand. She is qualified in editing, translating, literature, public speaking, and curriculum development. Without further ado, I'm going to call onto the platform Prof. Madikan. The stage is yours.
Colleagues, dear children, and my peers, I greet you this afternoon and I thank you so much for this opportunity to encourage the girl child. I was at pains about the absence of the boy child, but I'm happy to see in the audience that we also have boy children, because God blessed us with both boys and girls. Fine, I will be focusing on the girl, but I'm sure something will come through for the other child in the family. My talk is not academic at all, but it is just on motivation. I put you in the center, my child, because in you is a multitude of identities. First, you are udadubawo, or ubabekazi, or umamncane, or umamkhulu. You are the sister to someone else who has children, and those children look up to you to offer them something as a relative. So maybe some 5% of whatever you offer the world should go to those people who call you utadubawo, who call you babekazi, who call you umamncane, who the English call auntie. You cannot turn your back on them because you are the only relative with that title in their life. So keep that in mind, whether they are not there, whether they are still to come, whether they are there. You cannot say hamba kubabu wakho, hamba kuma wakho, awuzalwa ndim. You cannot say that. God has put you in that space to be the other mother to this child. You are also a lover, you know, whether married or in a relationship. But there will come a time where someone sees you as a lover, as a fiance, as a wife, or some other. You know, this is a very privileged position. My advice this afternoon is that don't be abused. Don't even abuse yourself in this relationship, because you're a complete individual. You're not here to be sponsored by anybody. You're not here to sponsor anybody. You are here to give your love. And if your love cup is empty, you have the right to step out and fill that love cup so that you come and be a proper lover. You are here to build, you are here to give positivity. You are not here to say, a time to, hey, is this and that. No. You are a proud daughter of your father. You are here to share love. You are not here to be a sponsor or to be sponsored by anybody. You are here to stand on your feet. If you are at the level of being a mother, give time to your children. At times the children are big, at other times they are very small, but do create date time to be a mom to your children. They don't have any other person whom they can call mom but you. And it is not out of selfishness to other relatives in the family when you focus on the person who says to you, you are my mom. Focus on that person. God has made you a co-creator with him in carrying that human being for 9 months. So it is indeed important to have your me time with your child. Beyond everything else, you are a social citizen. So you must really take custody of yourself. You are a proud daughter of your family. I want to talk about drugs. Stay away from drugs. You may think you know what I mean, but what I mean is that there are many types of drugs. You know, your goals, a bad goal can be a drug. I don't want anything else. I just want to get married. That is a drug. Please inspect that. It must not take you away from all the other responsibilities. wrong perceptions. I want to have a friend who is in parliament, a friend who is, a high social person. That can be a drug. Oh, I want to have a new dress every month. That is a drug. Oh, my phone, I don't want it. It's too old. Stay away from drugs. You are a complete individual. Don't use these crutches of society to derail you from actualizing your role here on earth. Sometimes I have a lot of nieces, and I hear them dream about the day they get married, they'll get out of this home, we'll never see them again, and so forth. It's wrong. You will never erase your family. You will, even if you can become Mrs. Madikane, you will never erase where you come from. So that is also another drug. Your relationship with marriage must not be a drug. Your relationship with your aspirations must not be a drug at the expense of these other things. And on a physical level, we all know that, these substances, they also destroy us. I finished my BA when I was 21 years of age. And I knew at that time that if I start drinking, if I start smoking, I will be so old in 2 years that I won't like myself. Despite the fact that I was a Christian, I made a social conscious decision that I will not drink. I am so selfish of myself, of my body, that I will not allow any substance to age me before my time. That was my focus. And as Lerato said, it is true to focus on education. It does help. By age 24, 25, you have your master's. 26, 27, you have your PhD. And you are a grown individual at that time. So be selfish about yourself. So I want to say that even though we know the physical damage that these substances can cause in the body, but also there are those hidden substances, effects that come with the metaphorical drug. I want to see you in the future, my child. I want to see you strong. I want to see you raising a nation of warriors like yourself. This is why I'm saying these drugs must not derail you, whatever form of drug it is. You will know that on our continent we've had very, very strong women like Mantatis, like the one from Angola who fought the colonialists, like one from my own tribes people, Emaswati, Kwamile, who ruled the country for 30 years, but nobody will ever tell you that she did that. They were fighting the colonialists to the point that Queen Victoria said, wow, Africa has very, very strong women. They told her, we cannot call you queen because we are queens in our own rights. I want you, my daughter, to occupy that space, to lead armies. I want to see you, bringing back the knowledge of our Africa that was started in Egypt, that was started in Mali so many years ago. I want you to remember that it is your forefathers who built the first university on earth, the university that saw Aristotle come from Greece to Africa to learn for 22 years, the university that saw Pythagoras live in Greece for 21 years studying mathematics in Africa from an African university, the university that even made people like Plato and Aristotle build the Lyceum university that we now call the beginning of knowledge, when it came from here. I want you to remember that, my child, you are not a reptile. You are not a snake that you can walk on your belly after you've fallen. John Milton, one of the English poets, reminds us that human beings are not reptiles. We fall, yes, but we also stand up. We have the ability to dust off the dust from our belly and to walk on. So I want to encourage you that you must remember you're a human being. You can walk, you can stand up from whatever fallen position be it having a baby before time, be it not having money and stepping out of your studies, or be it failing a module, or be it being hurt by someone that you don't want to do anything, you can still stand up, because there's only one you. There's only one sister that Bawo, mom called you. So all I'm saying, colleagues, is that there is a spiritual side to every human being. Feed that spiritual side. Mine is God Jehovah that I feed on. There is a physical side. Be very, very possessive about that physical side. It mustn't be something that is abused by all and sundry, including yourself. Don't abuse your physical side. Look after it. There is an emotional self. And then you go, you study, you take the chances that Prof. Munye talked about. You plunge and you collaborate with the sisterhood. And remember, no one should erase your cultural identity, because if you erase your cultural identity, you'll become somebody else whom you don't know. Singama Africa, we are Africans. There is nothing to change us. We can learn everything and anything across the world, but Tina, Singama Africa, we have our cultural base, which is Africa. So I end here, and I want to say, look back, look around you. This is your sisterhood. Walk strong. Don't fall, because I want to see you in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor. And yes, it is highly important to always remind one another that when we fall, we must always rise. Yes, thank you. Thank you. This was officially the first part of the CELSI Take a Girl Child to Work event. There is going to be a part 2 and 3, and part 2 focuses on the boy child. I think what CELSI has seen over the years is the importance of being inclusive to all genders. So as much as this one was mainly for the girl child, there is going to be one for the boy child, and we look forward to that one also. Now, a moment of fun and giving away of goodies. My colleague, Mr. Tumeleng Mahwane, is reminding you on the chat box about our lovely prizes that we have for today. But we actually take a moment now, and we are bringing in our attendees, our lovely young queens from these high schools that are with us today. And we are kindly asking you to come onto the platform and pledge, right? I'm not going to necessarily define what a pledge is, but I'm going to be a practical example of a pledge. So a pledge can go something like this. I, Nomzamo Matombe, pledge today to make more time for my dream, right? I feel like somebody must clap hands for me, because I feel like my pledge is just such a beautiful pledge, even though I won't win any of the prizes, but yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm inviting our students, and I'm calling them on to switch on their mics and cameras one at a time. If you raise your hand, then we'll be able to allow you the platform, and then you can pledge. And our judges are here and ready to pick out 4 students to give away airtime to. Now, when you're ready, we are looking for a show of hands for those who would like to win some prizes. I'm going through our attendees list. I'm looking for a hand. I don't see a hand. There we go, Riverside Queens, we are here for you. All right, the hand is noted. The challenge has begun. Okay, I see my queens from Riverside are using the chat box. Yes, continue using the chat box to make your pledges. And anybody else who's interested in pledging, who wants to be a runner-up to win our lovely prizes today, use the chat box to make your pledge. Mr. Tumeleng Makwane will note it from the chat box. In the meantime, I'm also inviting any questions, any comments from any of our attendees today who are still here with us, if you'd like to say something right before we close, now is your chance. Simply just raise your hand and I will note you and I will give you the platform. Now, without further ado, I'm going to call on to the platform a team member, a colleague, and a very, very impressive young woman, Miss Mamashu Mabua, to do the closing for us. Miss Mabua, the stage is yours.
Nomzamo, thank you so much, and thank you for introducing me as well. I'm Mama Shumavua. I'm the student counselor in Johannesburg, and I am a registered counselor by profession. I am busy with my master's in research psychology right now, and I'm hoping to be finishing very soon with it. So my duty is just as much just to give you the closing remarks for this event. I would like to just thank everyone who attended this event, including our beloved speakers from UNISA Women Forum. It is with great pleasure to share this kind of space with you, Mbokodos. This was not only for the girl children that were in attendance, but also for us as young employees of this magnificent international institution. I would like to also thank the CLC for acknowledging the work that needs to be done in the life of a girl child. To Dr. Nkwani, as you are the man of this house today, I would like to also point it out to you that on the other side, you are faced with a big job of preparing the young boys for these empowered young girls. You all know that women are generally powerful and strong. Now imagine if they were to take the space. To our women in governance, who are always ready to lead from the front and ensuring that our students' needs as well taken good care of. We salute you. We honor you. Keep on encouraging these young girls to occupy this space as we as South Africans, we still awaiting for the first female president, and we are hoping that one day the president will be coming from women like you. To the girl child learners who are here today, I hope we have learned and drew motivation from these young academics that were here today with us, and that have done so much for themselves. To my beloved team, I just don't know how to thank you. You always amaze me of your hard work. I feel so emotional as I'm presenting this, because I have worked with you on many events, and you have always tried your level best to make sure that everything goes well. And to our head of department, Dr. Pizwani, as a woman and as a mother, you have carried us in the counseling unit. You have always made sure that you trust everyone with their strengths and abilities. And with that being said, I thank to be sharing this space. I thank you for sharing this space with me and my other colleagues and all these young women that we have in our unit, and the men that are there in our unit as well. Thank you so much for being the woman that you are, and for making sure that everyone in this unit is being treated equally and given the best opportunity to excel in the work that they are doing. With all that being said, I would like to thank everyone who has joined us today in the 2021 CLC Take a Girl Child to Work event. May you all remain blessed and have a great day further. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mabua. We truly appreciate that. Such a warm closing to such a wonderful, empowering event. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our event. I did open up the Q&A session, and I did open up the pledging section in the chat box, and I see that we do have people still pledging. It is, however, the end of our event, and my lovely colleague has noted all the pledges that were made by our wonderful schools today, from Riverside High School to Raswoord to Suncast. We really would take this opportunity, would like to take this opportunity to thank you for attending. We know that you are in school, you have classes, but you took the time to be with us today. Without further ado, from me, your host and program director, goodbye, stay safe.